What's up, fight fan? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and this is an edition of Q&A. And shout out to my boy Bobby Collins. Okay, Bobby Collins had this to say. He asked me a question. Okay, that's why it's Q&A bars. But he asked a question, and the question was very interesting. He said, do you think, he said, salute Kurt, do you think the way Fury versus Ngannou went looks worse than what Joshua versus Ruiz did in the first fight? And let me counterpunch. I would say no. No. I don't think it's in the same ballpark is Fury Joshua. I mean, on the embarrassing level. Okay, it's embarrassing. Joshua got whooped by a fat dude that likes Snickers and Cheetos and shit that's bad for him. An obese guy. Okay, and yeah, it was embarrassing. You could tell he was on the ground. And that shit, he was like, this is some fucking bullshit. You could tell he was embarrassed. Okay. And he went down 3 more times in that fight. You could argue, though, now here's the tricky thing. You could argue that Anthony Joshua made a better representation of himself because he did knock down Andy Ruiz, and he was the first one ever to do it. Okay? You know, him and Chris Arreola, right? They were the only ones to drop Andy Ruiz in a professional fight, and he has 2 losses. You know what I'm saying? So you could argue that. But then another note, Tyson Fury, I think he's more embarrassed now than anything. I think he didn't have time to be embarrassed in the Francis Ngannou fight because he was constantly busy trying to survive. So he didn't have time to be like, this is some fucking bullshit. Because you can tell people's body language like, oh man, this motherfucker's really beat me up, and you know what I mean? You can tell. No, he didn't have time for that. The only thing he had time for was fucking fight or fucking flight. If he wasn't fucking fighting, he was flying. If he wasn't flying, he was fighting. But he wasn't doing much fighting. He was holding, and he was trying to stay alive. So he wasn't stopped. Okay, so you have to put that on the table. Joshua was. Now he ended on his feet, you know, the referee stopped it, but bro, that was the 4th knockdown. So that would have probably got more embarrassing because Andy was just going to keep doing the same shit. And then if he was allowed to hit him with that rabbit punch, a real rabbit punch, I might add, you know, the same things would have happened. And then if people though, AJ was concussed or something was really wrong with him before going into that fight, it would have been dangerous to his health. But is it worse? No, it's not. Because I think AJ was a bigger star than Tyson Fury is now. Okay, think about AJ in 2019 compared to Tyson Fury in 2023. I don't compare. I think at the end of the day, at the very end of the day, Joshua was bigger, so I think it was a more of a drastic loss. Look, AJ and Fury won. I mean, AJ and Ruiz won is the equivalent of Tyson Buster Douglas. You know what I mean? That's what that was on. This shit, yeah, it's equally embarrassing, but then Tyson, the result was different. He didn't get hurt. He didn't get hurt at all. He didn't get to the point where, you know, he was on the ground and he took his time and he spit his mouthpiece out because he needed time to breathe. And, you know, he didn't do all that. So, no, the result wasn't as bad, okay? And he got the win. Joshua got stopped. So that's worse. But anyway, shout out to Bobby Collins once again. You guys tell me what you think about this Q&A. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch.